Hello everyone and welcome to the Info Exchange webinar on the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform. My name is Helena Bates and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator here at Info Exchange. And today I'll be taking you through how to navigate the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform and showing you some of the data you can access and download. I'd also like to welcome my colleagues Amoda and Asa, who will be supporting the webinar. They're here from the online applications team at Info Exchange. Hello, Amoda and Asa.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Elena.
Thanks for joining us. So firstly, some housekeeping. All lines are muted, so if you have any questions, please type them into the question panel. We will be monitoring the questions. However, we'll be holding off until the end of the webinar for answering questions. And I'll bring Amoda and Asa back in to support me with that section. If you're having any technical issues, please type these into the box and we'll do our best to support you with this. Just a note that if you're on a Wi-Fi connection and you have multiple programs open, this can cause some issues with the sound quality. So if possible, go ahead and close other programs so that you can have the best experience. If you are joining via telephone, please select telephone and enter the PIN on the audio panel. And lastly, just to let everyone know that today's session will be recorded and it's going to be made available after the webinar so you can come back to it as you need. Okay, so that's it for housekeeping. It's very exciting to have you all here and to be taking you through the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform. Today's webinar, it's going to give you the tools that you need to navigate the platform. It's not going to be overly technical, so rest assured, if you're new to data, you've come to the right place. So a bit of background on the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform. The Ask Izzy Open Data Platform was developed by Info Exchange with support from Google, and it was co-designed with organisations from the community, government and academic sectors. It uses location-based data from Info Exchange sources, including Ask Izzy and directory sources, as well as using data sets from the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare and the Australian Bureau of Statistics. The key value of the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform is that it is a data tool that provides insights into the supply and demand for community services across Australia, such as housing, food, health, and a number of other categories. There are two key benefits of using the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform, or ODP as sometimes we call it. Firstly, to identify trends in the need for social services. And secondly, to provide actionable insights for policymakers and service providers. We're really proud of what we've built here with the help of the sector. So let's get started and go ahead and jump on the site. I'm just going to close off my PowerPoint here and navigate to opendata.askizzy.org.au. And here we are, we're on the home page. Now, the first thing that you need to do is sign up. If you click on this button, it will ask you to input some details. And it's really important that you do this first off because it's the only way to access and display the data available. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that button, but you'll see it takes me straight through because I've already been logged in. So it's now loaded the data page, and this is the main page that we'll be working from. You can access this page at any time using the data button in the top right-hand corner. Now, I'd also like to make you aware of the tour. If you click on the tour button here, that is an 8-step tutorial that you can click through. I will let you do that on your own time because we're going to be doing an interactive walkthrough today. But after the webinar, you're able to come back here at any point and you can go through the sections that you need to. So I'm just going to close that off. Let's have a look at the basic layout of the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform. On the left-hand side, we've got 10 categories of data that can be visualized using the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform. And then over here on the right-hand side, we've got the middle panel, and that's the map. This is where you can visualize the data that you select. So if we go back over to the left-hand side categories, you'll see that the data is structured in the following manner. So I'm going to click on housing and homelessness. And you'll see here that we've got 6 states and 2 territories, including an Australia-wide view. I'm going to go ahead and just click on ACT here. And you can see that there are two data sets available. We've got the ABS data set and we've got the Info Exchange data set. So I am going to click on Info Exchange here, and you'll see that's further broken down into two categories. The first of which is aggregate service demand, and that's where people have been searching for information about the category you selected using the Info Exchange directories, including the Ask Izzy data. And over here we've got aggregate service supply. This will let you know the number of service providers that are providing services in that category that you selected, and that is in the Info Exchange service directory. Now, if I go ahead and click on aggregate service demand, we can see that they further break down into years. So we've got 2016 and 2017, and 2018 is coming soon. So I'm just going to minimize those headings. Oh, there we go. And if we go now down into the, what have I done here? Australia-wide view. So we're going to click on that. And here we can see we've got two data sets available. We've got the ABS and we've got the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare statistics there. Data, rather. So the best way to actually look at the data is if we go through a live example. So let's just start from the top again. I'm going to go ahead and click on housing and homelessness. I'm going to click on ACT. I'd like to have a look at the Info Exchange data. I'm going to click on aggregate service demand. I'm going to click on 2017. Now, just a handy trick here, you can either add the data immediately using this little plus sign here, but what I actually prefer to do is click on the heading, because that's going to bring a pop-up box and that's got some information about where that data is coming from. And you can just add it to the map by clicking on this button here. So there we go, we've added the data to the map. But that's not a great view of the data, is it? So what we want to do, we'll go over to the left-hand side, we're going to press zoom to extent. And that's just brought up a really clear picture of the data in the location that we've chosen. If we have a look also on the top right-hand corner, you can also navigate the map, zoom in, zoom out. You can navigate the map as such that way as well if you prefer. Let's click on one of these data points. You'll see here a featured data box has popped up. Now I've chosen not the right one. Let's click on this. So the featured data box has popped up. Let's click on show raw data. Now that's showing us some more information about that particular data point. And just a note here that these data points are centroids, so that latitude and longitude is not actually picking up the location of the person who searched for that service. It's actually picking up, it's making their location the middle of the suburb of where they searched, because it's really important to us in terms of privacy. And we go a step further for people who are experiencing family violence. That centroid then becomes the middle of the local government area of which they searched. So you can see that there's more information there. I'm going to go ahead and close that featured data box. And I'm going to show you now how you can download the data for your own analysis. So let's go back on the left-hand side. You'll see you've got about this data. I'm going to click on that button. We've got that description that's popped up again here. And we can just pop down here, download this data set. I'm going to click on that. And that's just really easily opened up an Excel spreadsheet. And you can see how nicely formatted that is for your own analysis of the data. And you're able to do that with any data set. So really easy to download and use yourself. I'm just going to go ahead and close that and also close that pop-up box. And now that we're done with that data, I would like to remove it. So I'm just going to go ahead and press the remove button. I might even zoom back out on the map. And you can see here, we're back to the data page. Okay, so at this point, I think it's important to direct you down to the footer. Here we've got about us, we've got the terms of use, data sources, privacy, and contact us. It's really important that you make yourself aware of these items, particularly the terms of use, data sources, and privacy. That's got a lot of handy information for you there. I'll just give you an example. If we hop into data sources, you can see each of the sources that are listed there. They've got their attribution policies and links through to further information. So if you want information on how to cite the data, that's where you go. Please make yourself aware of those, of that information there. All right, so let's have a look at some more data. I'm going to click back into housing and homelessness. But instead of going state-based, this time I'm going to have a look at an Australia-wide example. So I've just clicked on Australia-wide. I'm going to click on ABS. And here we can see these are all the data sets that are available. I am going to go with estimating homelessness. So again, remember we can add it directly to the map using that plus sign, but I would just want to see a little bit of information about where that data is coming from before I add it to the map by clicking on this button here. Okay, so now that's been added to the map, I want to look a little bit further into it. We'll scroll down here on the left-hand side, and you can see here, these are all the various variables that are applicable to that data. So you've got a number of categories here, and they even break down in terms of age groups, sex, etc. So I'm actually just going to stick to the default today. I'm going to be looking at the category of homeless operational groups, persons living in improvised dwellings, tents, or sleeping out. So let's come back over to our map here. I'm going to click on a state that I want to look at. Let's click on Victoria. Now we've got that featured data box that's popped up again here. So if we scroll down, this is now all of the variable data for Victoria. So we can see all of the people with regards to the ABS data in Victoria for persons living in improvised dwellings, tents, or sleeping out in those variable groups. But I want to show you a really cool function here. If we scroll down, we're going to have a look at a time-based graph. So in that featured data box, you just scroll down and see this expand button here. Just click on that one. Now I can see it's popped up behind that, so let's just close that down. And here we have got a time-based graph of which shows the data, and you can easily see trends. So for example, if I hover my mouse over 2006, I can see that in Victoria, there were 786 persons living in improvised dwellings, tents, or sleeping out. And let's move up. We'll go to 2011. And at this point, I can see in Victoria, there was 1,090. So you can actually go a step further with this and you can compare states. So my screen's a little bit small, but maybe it's easier for you. What I'll do, let's just click on New South Wales. So again, you'll see that featured data box has popped up. And this information is all of the variable information specific to New South Wales. But remember, I want to see that data in comparison to Victoria over time. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click expand. And I can see it's popped up behind, so I'll just close that box there. And now we've got two locations together. So it's just so easy to be able to compare the two. So here in 2006, we can see New South Wales was at 1,596, Victoria at 786, and so on for 2011. We can even add another state if you'd like. We'll just quickly do that. If we go to Western Australia, again, the featured data box has popped up. All of the information you can see here with regards to those variable groups. Click expand, close that box, and here we go. We can see that is very easy to compare. Okay, so when I'm finished with that data, I'll go back over to my left-hand side and I can remove all by clicking there. And again, that brings us back to that data page where I've got my map and the left-hand side categories. So we're not far off to the end of the webinar here. So before we jump into questions, I'll just navigate back to the home page actually, firstly, feedback. That's really important. It's the way that we're able to improve the site, and the more feedback that we get, the better that we're able to introduce improvements. So if you just go on the left-hand side here and you click on the Give Feedback button, you can see your name, email address, and comments or questions. Please let us know what you think of the site. Please let us know how you're using it, and anything else you would like to feedback to us. So I'm just going to click back onto the home page and scroll down. Here we've got a video. This is the first case study that we've done with Orange Sky, and it's a really great example of how community groups on the ground are using the Ask Izzy open data platform now. And you may have already seen that video. The link has been sent to you when you registered for this webinar. But if you haven't already, I highly recommend checking that out. The other thing I would like to show you, if you just scroll down, we've also got some examples of how the data is available. These are some infographic insights, and again, are really just a great example of how the data can be used. So please go and check those out after the webinar. Okie doke, so we've come up to question time. So I'll pop up on my screen here. If there are some overly technical questions, please take a note. We've got a modus name there, and also the email that you can send through, which is support@opendata.askizzy.org.au. And if there's anything that we're unable to address, in this time frame, that's probably the best way to do it. But for now, we will open for questions. I haven't got any through so far. Whilst we're waiting for any questions, Amoda and Asa, is there anything you would like to add at this point?
Look, just to let people out there in the community know, this is we feel that this is an asset that you can use to work with, to look at what service demand is for the particular category that you're interested in, because I don't believe there's anything that shows that demand. And as organizations start using all the various directories that are out there that is supported by Info Exchange, we will get more and more valuable information in here that you can use. And we plan to improve this product over time. So and we will communicate to you through our various forums around that.
Excellent.
Do we have some questions?
Okay, we've got some questions. The first up, is the open data platform designed to be used by developers? And if so, is there an API for accessing data sets?
No, the open data platform is developed primarily to be used by service providers and service providers who are involved in policy, looking at service mapping, and even at a government level, people who are interested in looking at where people are looking for information about the various categories. So it's primarily for service providers.
Okay, great. Well, we'll go to another question. Are there any plans on adding another data set or other data sets?
Yes, there's always plans to add additional data sets. So what we like to do is to, for the next 6 to 12 months, to see how people are using the current data sets, get some insights, and then get feedback from people about what other data sets that they're interested in, and make those data sets available. And we also need to be really careful about what data sets that we allow people to access, because we need to make sure that the data sets are accurate. So when we put something out there, we need to ensure that the accuracy of the data. So, and yes, short answer, yes, we are, but it will take time.
Okay, great. We've got a few more coming in. Next question. Can you download graphs and reformat their appearance?
No, you can't download the graphs. You have to download the data, which is in Excel format, and then you can create your own graphs for those. And the data, even for the ABS data or AIHW data, you'll be able to download them and make your own. So if you have a look at the data insights page, you'll see how we have used some of the data to create various infographics, including graphs, and yeah, you'll be able to do the same.
Okay. Can you get any more localized than state level?
So the data that you see, for example, the info exchange data and the ABS data, a lot of that data is at a suburb level. So, and obviously the data on family violence is at a local government area level. The Australian Institute of Health and Welfare data is only available for us at this stage at the state level, so which is why it's presented in that way.
Okay, can you show overlapping data? For example, could you show Ask Izzy and the ABS to see numbers versus, I can't see the rest of that question.
Yeah, I think yes. The
versus
answer
services.
to that is yes. Yes. So you can actually add multiple data sources. You need to be careful when you do that because, and you need to know how to interpret the data. So this is why we guide you to the data sources page so that you understand exactly what data sets can be overlaid to make sense. And the answer to that is yes. And if you actually, we don't actually have time today to go through into that level of detail, but certainly if you send us an email, we can give you some instructions on how to do that.
Great. Okay, we've got another question here. How is the demand for services data gathered?
Okay, so as I said, or as and also Helen said, there's a community services directory called Info Exchange Service Seeker that has been around for a very long time, and people use Service Seeker to search for information, and it can be service providers, it can be end users, but majority of the times in the past it has been service providers. More recently, we have created the Ask Izzy app, which is used by the end users, and it uses the same data source to search for information. So there's Service Seeker, there's Ask Izzy, then there's the Human Services Network in New South Wales, there's a directory called One Place in Queensland. So all of those directories are the sources for the demand data. So when people use any of those directories, which are classified as info exchange directories, that data gets recorded as the search, to record the search or demand.
Okay, great. So I think we've got time for one more question. With the demand side of data from Ask Izzy, where is the location recorded from? The search box or the result clicked?
It's a number of different ways. If the person chooses to set their location on their browser and say use my location, then that becomes the location. Or if they say I'm looking for food in Richmond, then Richmond becomes the location. So it depends on how the person accesses the system and chooses to add the location data.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. If there's any final questions, we've got 1 more minute. I can see a couple of thumbs up there. Thank you very much. Well, we'll leave it there, and please take a note of the email that's on your screen there if you've got any further questions, or the feedback button via the site itself. Thank you so much for joining us on a navigation tour of the Ask Izzy Open Data Platform, and we really look forward to hearing from you to see how it's working for you and how you're using it. Thank you all. Bye-bye.